Hello, young explorers. Have you ever wondered what it takes to live in space? Astronauts have to solve many challenges when they travel beyond Earth. They need food, air, and a way to go to the bathroom. But did you know that one brilliant African-American scientist helped solve these problems? His name was Dr. Robert Shurney, and he worked for NASA, the space agency that sends astronauts into space. Today we're going to learn all about his incredible inventions and how they helped astronauts live and work in space. Robert Shurney was born on December 29, 1921 in Dublin, Georgia. He grew up in a time when life was very different from today. The United States was going through the Great Depression, which meant there weren't many jobs or opportunities, especially for African Americans. But Robert was a curious child who loved to take things apart to see how they worked. Even though the world was unfair, Robert never stopped dreaming. He served in the U.S. Army during World War II and then decided to go back to school. He studied physics and electrical engineering at Tennessee State University and graduated in 1962. That was a huge accomplishment. At that time, very few African Americans became scientists or engineers, but Robert never let obstacles stand in his way. After finishing college, Robert Shurney got an incredible job. He joined NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama. NASA was working on the Apollo program, which was the mission to send astronauts to the moon. His job was very important. He helped make sure the Saturn V rocket, the huge rocket that carried astronauts, had the right balance and weight so it could fly safely. This was not an easy task. If the weight was not distributed properly, the rocket might not work correctly. But Robert was a genius at solving these kinds of problems, and his work helped send Apollo 11 to the moon in 1969. NASA didn't just want astronauts to land on the moon. They wanted them to explore it. But there was a big problem. How would astronauts move around on the moon's rocky surface? Walking would be too slow, and regular tires would not work on the moon. Robert helped design the Lunar Roving Vehicle, also known as the moon buggy. His special metal mesh wheels were lightweight but strong, which made it possible for astronauts to drive on the moon. Thanks to his invention, astronauts on Apollo 15, Apollo 16, and Apollo 17 were able to drive across the moon's surface and discover new things. Living in space is not like living on Earth. There is no gravity, so things don't fall to the ground. That means everything, including food crumbs, water, and even waste, can float around. This was a big problem. In the early space missions, astronauts had to use very basic solutions that weren't comfortable at all. NASA needed a new way to manage waste for longer missions. Who did they turn to? Dr. Robert Shurney. Robert came up with a genius idea. Since there was no gravity in space, he designed a waste management system that used airflow instead of gravity. This meant that waste would be gently pulled into a sealed container, keeping the space station clean and comfortable. NASA installed the space toilet on Skylab, America's first space station, which launched in 1973. Thanks to Dr. Shurney's invention, astronauts could stay in space for longer periods without worrying about how to handle waste. Dr. Shurney didn't just design things, he tested them too. He spent over 500 hours in weightlessness testing his inventions on a special airplane called the Vomit Comet. This plane flies up high and then dives down, creating brief moments of zero gravity to test how things work in space. Because of his dedication and hard work, his space waste system was a success. NASA continued to improve it, and even today space toilets on the International Space Station are based on Dr. Shurney's design. Dr. Robert Shurney's work changed space travel forever. His inventions helped astronauts explore the moon live in space and prepare for the future of space exploration. But he didn't just make amazing things. He inspired new generations of scientists and engineers. Even though he passed away in 2007, his contributions live on. Today, when astronauts use modern space toilets or drive Mars rovers, they are building on his ideas. So the next time you look up at the moon, remember Dr. Robert Shurney, the African-American scientist who helped astronauts live and work in space. He proved that with curiosity, creativity, and determination, anything is possible. Even making a toilet that works in space. If you like this video and would like to see more content like this, please give it a thumbs up. Feel free to leave a comment, share with others, and subscribe to our channel.